Most people, including myself, say this is the highlight of their trip to Puerto Vallarta, the hike from Boca de Tomatlan to Las Animas beach. This is where you're going to find those gorgeous, untouched beaches with clear and turquoise water. So if you want to do this on your next trip, here is exactly what to expect and some helpful tips before you head out. From the Zona Romantica, grab the bus at Basilio Badillo and Constitution Street, not far from the Pancake House. The buses to Boca leave every half hour. It's 10 pesos per person and about a 35-minute ride. I suggest catching the 9 or 9:30 a.m. bus at the latest. Earlier would be a little better. I recommend eating a good breakfast and maybe even packing some snacks with you. A couple options are fueling up at the Pancake House or grab a few pastries to go from Yulo's Bakery.
This is like 14 pounds.
So what'd you get?
We got cornbread, we got a massive donut, we got banana bread loaf, we got a custard taco that weighs 1.5 pounds.
And if you prefer to do this with a group, you can also book a guided hike, which is what we did. And it was actually really fun meeting everyone, and our local guide was really helpful. I linked the guided hike that we took below. Once you're in Boca, walk down the hill and you'll find a public washroom. I would recommend using it if you need it. It's about 10 pesos. To get started, turn left away from the beach to find the pedestrian bridge. At this point, the trail is pretty well marked the whole way. You can't really get lost as you'll just be following the coastline. There is a map just after you start, and I recommend taking a photo to help remember the beaches. A little further past the map is a great outlook at the mouth of the cove. It's a great spot for photos, and we even saw whales waving at us in the distance.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, nice flipper. Hi, everyone.
Aww.
Nice wave.
The hardest part of the hike is the first section to get you to the first beach, Playa Colomitos. So don't get discouraged. By the fourth beach, it starts to get way less hilly and a lot more flat. In total, the hike is about 4 kilometers or 2.5 miles one way, and with stops for swimming and taking photos and taking our time to enjoy, it took us a little under 3 hours.
And in these little towns, they just add some flavors like banana flavor, watermelon. How you say? Fabrics, where they use this texture of the tree, of the chicle tree, and they make the.
Now, I would probably rate this hike as moderate, with some easier sections. It's not super difficult, but it's definitely not a leisurely walk, and I will say it was a little more challenging than I was expecting. We saw all ages on this trail, but I would probably not recommend it for kids under 7. There are some elevation gains, a lot of uneven terrain. There's roots and spots where you have to use the rocks as makeshift stairs. There's some narrow sections and a few places we had to scramble through the boulders. But as long as you're mobile and aware of your footing, you should be just fine. And take your time, there's lots of beautiful scenery to enjoy. But if you've never hiked in your life, you might find it a little difficult. And I should mention this hike is not stroller or wheelchair friendly. As far as shoes, I recommend sandals with straps that have some sort of grip and a little stability, or even some water hiking shoes, just not flip-flops unless you're an avid hiker. Chris wore flip-flops and it was a little sketch in some places. I wore my reef sandals and they were perfect, since they're waterproof as well. I'll link them below.
Be careful, guys.
I wouldn't recommend shoes as you'll be walking through the sand, but if that doesn't bother you and you don't plan to go in the water, you could wear your hiking shoes. But when you get to Playa Colomitos, the first beach, it is so beautiful. The water is absolutely gorgeous, it's clean, and a really nice temperature for swimming. Some of our group even did a bit of snorkeling here too. It's quite picturesque, tucked away here in this little cove, so it's easy to see why it's popular and gets a little busy. If you've gotten this far and you feel like you've had enough, it's possible to catch a 5-minute water taxi back to Boca, so that's an option if you need it. But from here, it gets less difficult, and the next beach is less than 10 minutes away. This was one of my favorites on the trail. Playa Madagascar. It was a little more spread out and the water was that shimmering blue. The water was a little warmer here too.
Wow.
The rest of the hike is fantastic with more jungle, more beaches, and more breathtaking views. As far as what to bring and wear, I would bring a small backpack or day pack. Make sure you bring water, maybe a snack, and definitely lots of sunscreen. Wear your swimsuit and bring a towel. I always bring my hat, but I'm really glad I had my magnetic hat clip when we were deeper in the jungle with lots of shade. This is Playa Caballo. This one actually might be my favorite. It was so secluded and quiet and had the most beautiful sand. Finally, you'll arrive at Las Animas Beach, where you'll have your choice of beach bars and restaurants to replenish some calories. I actually had really good shrimp fajitas here. The sand was also really nice and the swimming was pretty good too. When you're ready to head back, you can take a water taxi back to Boca. It's a little under a 10-minute boat ride. Or you can take it all the way back to Vallarta, but I'm not sure how much extra that costs. And then in Boca, just take the same bus back. They usually come every 15 minutes. We caught the bus just after 4 p.m. I highly recommend this hike on your next visit to Puerto Vallarta. You're going to have a great time. I'll leave the link to the guided hike that we took if you want to book that. And if you have any questions about the hike, drop them in the comments below.
Did you get to drive?
I think he just thought I was asking to sit back there, but that was a pretty quick trip.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.